So let's get this Patriarch's Bidding down finally. Obviously named Vampire with that. Each of our opponents can reanimate some stuff as well, so hopefully that won't be too relevant. Thank you to Kenzie Bruce for his incredibly generous support on Patreon. Now let's see if this card is as terrible as I think it is. Edgar Charmed Groom up against Zedruu the Great-Hearted, Kawin Itinerant Meddler, and Beledros Witherbloom. That's a better opening hand than we got in the last game. Just a tap land from Zedruu. I think we will follow suit with that as well. Drew into Patriarch's Bidding. Need to actually get into some vampires to make that relevant. Okay, and we get Captivating Vampire, so let's drop ourselves. Is Herborg going to help anyone? Whatever. We'll throw it down and get the Arcane Signet into play. Nature's Law for kills. And we see Kawin straight away on turn 2, first commander of the game. That's a means of us drawing into vampires at least. Then that is a Commander's Sphere. Haven't seen that artwork. We draw into a swamp. We can play Phyrexian Tower and tap that down for a black thanks to the Herborg. Yeah, I think it's okay to just go for Mind Stone. And then I'll just hold up the Anguished Unmaking. Highly doubt that I'm going to be using it, but I'm certainly not going to run out Captivating Vampire into play with no kind of board state. We preferably want to drop Captivating Vampire when we've got 4 vamps in play, and then we can take control of something straight away if we want to. Parallel Lives. Haven't played my Beledros deck in a while. I was actually looking at Chatterfang again. Sol Ring for Kawin. Playing with Valdrieg and Billy Kills, by the way. Haven't played with the patrons in a while, so it's good to see them. Big thank you to them for supporting the channel so consistently. A Psychic Corrosion from Val. And then holding the Kawin up, most likely until the end of Billy's turn. Now it's Mirror Maid from the Jeskai player. Can come down as any enchantment or artifact. So maybe going after the Sol Ring. And that's exactly what they do, going after Sol Ring, ramping with that. And then it's a Crow and Horse was using that in... what was it? It was in the Slug deck. Troxil, I think it's called. You'll have probably seen that video already at this point. I'm putting the Crow and Horse under the control of the Beledros player, so they won't get any soldiers from this thing. Something tells me that Kills won't struggle to make a bunch of tokens in his deck anyway. Alright, getting another one, Malakir Bloodwitch. We'll drop the land and just go for Edgar Markov. We do have a sack outlet, thankfully. So I'll just hold it back for now because that means that we can still hold up the Anguished Unmaking, and this only triggers during the upkeep anyway. It's like a Bitter Blossom for vampires, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll hold off on that for now. Don't think it's too likely that we're going to lose the Phyrexian Tower this game. So we should be able to flip Edgar Markov round quite consistently. Could not care less about the Charmed Groom. It's the Coffin that I want to be keeping in play. Being able to get into Anointed Procession would be good. We all get a Soldier token. I don't have the Maskwood Nexus in this deck, or any means of making these into vampires, unfortunately. Now if Kills is about to make a bunch of tokens, alright, I was going to say I will definitely point removal at the Parallel Lives, but that's just a Kodama's reach. And as we assumed at the end of Billy Kill's turn, we're all going to be able to gain a life and draw. And then, because Valdrieg decided to draw the Psychic Corrosion, Will Millers, we got into another land, milled a land and got rid of Swords to Plowshares as well. Then drawing a card again at the beginning of his turn, and it is Damn going down this time. We've got Merciless Eviction and Toxic Deluge in the deck as well, so should hopefully be able to get into more board wipes if we're desperate. Then playing Pendant of Prosperity, and deciding to give that to us, so I better know what it does. 2 tap draw, then can put a land from hand onto the battlefield. Its owner draws a card, then that player may put a land from hand onto the battlefield. Well, we'll be able to make use of this Phyrexian Tower mana then. He's also got Jace's Erasure into play here, so gonna be milling us quite consistently. This Patriarch's Bidding might become relevant at some point. Liking what I'm seeing from Valdrieg's deck so far though. There's Zedruu the Great-Hearted. And a Vidalcan Plotter. Exchange control of a land you control with a land an opponent controls. Oh, what was I saying about Phyrexian Tower? Oh, don't take Phyrexian Tower. Oh, alright, he's fixing his colours here, so irrigated farmland being traded in for the plains, getting some more blue mana. Deciding to tap it down for mana before he trades that away. So let's go for this Phyrexian Tower play. We'll sacrifice the Edgar Markov. Do we have to do anything weird on Magic Online? Hand, not the command zone. Command zone instead of library. So it should ask us if we want to put it in the bin. Return it to the command zone. No. And then it should come back under our control as the coffin, assuming that Magic Online isn't weird. Alright, and we managed to get Edgar Markov's coffin. Let's activate this as well. And we draw ourselves into Haunt of Hightower. We'll drop the Vault of Champions. That means that Val draws and mills manages to drop a Prairie Stream into play. Well, there goes our Skull Clamp. We're seeing how many cards we would have had to get through in order to actually get to the vampires here at least. Pointed the targeted mill towards the Zedruu player. So at the beginning of our turn, Edgar Markov's coffin will make a vampire for us. I haven't actually seen the tokens for this. Alright, so it's some suited and booted vampire from the wedding. And then Ashnod's Altar, so we've got another sack outlet if the Phyrexian Tower does go down. Cathar's Crusade's probably good with the Acroan Horse. Haunt of Hightower's obviously good as well. Let's go for Cathar's Crusade here. Noteworthy that Val is holding up mana here, so could be seeing a, I was going to say a swan song. Yeah, okay. So they're down to 3 cards in hand. Noteworthy that they wouldn't have had that blue mana available to them had we not have gone for the pendant. Obviously we went to no though, and it does get the swan song out of their hand. Assassin's Trophy going on to the Psychic Corrosion. And in response to that, Kawin is going to activate. We will certainly draw a card. Okay, Legion's Landing. And before the mill enchantment goes down, we are all going to get milled a little bit more. Getting rid of our Smothering Tithe. So getting rid of every card that we can't reanimate with the Patriarch's bidding, basically. At least we're getting closer to actually drawing into the creatures. So Assassin's Trophy will land here, give Val another untapped land. So Beledros Witherbloom coming into play here. I dare say he's going to untap straight away. Be that we have to get rid of Parallel Lives. Yep, so untapping all the lands, make him pay the 10 life before pointing any removal at it. And there's a Sanguine Bond. So the pests will gain him life, of course, and that will ping the rest of us. I wonder if they've got Heroic Intervention, something like that. I mean, once again, we can get it out of the hand, but I think we have to go Anguished Unmaking onto that Parallel Lives before any upkeep takes place. So it's Anguished Unmaking onto the Parallel Lives, and we'll see if he's got any means of hexproof. He does not, so managing to exile that thing. We're still going to have to deal with these pest tokens, but he's not getting twice as many anymore at least. Fractured Identity. That is exile an online permanent, make a copy of it, so... So Beledros going down under Billy Kill's turn. We each get a Beledros of our own, thanks to that. Now playing the Mill Jace as well. Can win the game with that one. Pointing some mill towards us. Are we finally going to see a vamp? Nope, just more support cards in Lightning Greaves. It's actually our only means of haste in this deck. A Sphinx's Tutelage now for some more mill. So Val with only 2 cards in hand. Noteworthy that he can untap the lands with Beledros, of course, but deciding not to. Nothing to stop him doing that before his next turn starts, of course. And Zedruu at the beginning of the turn is going to give a soldier token to somebody. And throwing that over towards Billy Kills. All of our Beledros is triggering during the upkeep. We don't have any instants or anything that we can make use of the untap with. Making a bunch of tokens here, only one of them's a vampire, unfortunately. Alright, a Grasp of Fate. Likely goes after the Sanguine Bond. Maybe each of our Beledroses, but a counterspell going on that. So Val doing a lot of work here. Not managing to stain too many cards though, only 1 left in hand. And then untapping all the lands with his Beledros over there. 7 cards in hand for the Jeskai player. Wild Research, a Jeskai enchantment. Can search your library for an enchantment, put it into your hand and discard at random. Or you can search for an instant, put it into your hand and discard at random. So we each draw a card and gain a life to the Queen. We managed to get into a scrubland there, so I wonder if it's worth untapping and going for the pendant. Some life gained by Beledros there, so Sanguine Bond got pointed at us. Only 1 life, thankfully. The mill from Sphinx's Tutelage pointed at Zedruu, as is Jace's Erasure. A detention sphere now, so likely going on to the Beledroses, I would think. Okay, it goes on to Valdrig's Beledros as opposed to ours. We've actually got more cards in hand, so I'm not sure about getting rid of his. But it's probably just punishment for all the targeted mill. Alright, and going for the 10 life into Beledros, so untapping all his lands. Maybe he's got a means of Lots of card draw there. Sphinx's Revelation, something like that. Maybe Cyclonic Rift? Yeah, it is the Sphinx's Revelation, so going to be gaining the 4 life and drawing 4 cards, which of course is going to trigger the enchantments even more. Spreading the mill out pretty consistently there, so some of it going on each of Val's opponents here. We are getting some mill ourselves, so we'll see if we actually manage to hit any vampires this time. Well, amazingly, not too many. We're having all of our mana rocks hit. Yeah, amazingly, still only 1 vampire in all that, Keru Mind Eater. So we're still saving the Patriarch's Bidding for after a board wipe, seemingly. Anyway, that was all on top of the Detention Sphere, so that does exile the Beledros, seemingly. Noteworthy that he doesn't want to hold up mana for a counterspell, or at least didn't want to pay 10 life to hold up mana for a counterspell. So our Beledros went down under the Detention Sphere, so we can't go for the untapping lands and stuff. Don't think I would have put 10 life into it just to go for the pendant anyway. Edgar Markov's Coffin continuing to trigger. I think it gives us a token and then flips around next turn. Then if it has 3 or more counters on it, then Edgar Markov comes back, so yeah. I continue to be underwhelmed by Edgar Markov, but it doesn't help the fact that we're not actually getting into that many vampires here. Let's go Legion's Landing. We could actually potentially make use of Captivating Vampire here, I think. So I'll drop the Haunt of Hightower here, try and encourage some kind of board wipe. We'll go for the Captivating Vampire as well. And that means that we can actually take control of something with Cap Vampire. Not sure what we want to take control of just yet, but it'll make our opponents think twice about throwing out something good at least. I probably should have swung in towards the Jace there actually, because we do have a flying bird. Oh well. The Trojan Horse continuing to trigger, so we all get a soldier token. There's a Viscera Seer, a vampire that I wouldn't mind seeing, although we do have a decent sack outlet in the Ashnod's Altar. Sacrificing a creature to the Haunt of Hightower, or to the Viscera Seer, so Haunt of Hightower gets buffed. Sacrifice the Acroan Horse, by the way, so no more soldier tokens for the rest of us. Well, there's an Exsanguinate, glad that we're not seeing it later on, so X is 5 on that. Haunt of Hightower sees the Exsanguinate go down, and the Sanguine Bond is obviously going to get pointed at someone. Billy Kills goes up to 48, and the Sanguine Bond getting pointed at the Zedruu player, so that is 15 life getting shot over there. More mill being distributed, so the Haunt of Hightower is going to get massive. Noteworthy there's a Villis in the graveyard over here now. Oh, and that feels bad. The Anointed Procession going down, pretty much the only thing that can make the Edgar Markov and the Coffin actually be decent. I think they definitely could have just made this make a couple of vampires. That would have made it better. Still wouldn't be good, but yeah, making 2 vampires would have made it better, I think. It's just so slow and so unimpactful. It's not necessarily for commander players, but I think they could have made something for us. The Mirror Maid could become a copy of the Edgar Markov's Coffin, instead making it a copy of Sphinx's Tutelage, and then casting a Folio of Fancies. Each player can draw X cards, or each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in hand. Does give all players no maximum hand size, not that that's too relevant for us. We're going to mill 2 to the Jace, Wielder of Mysteries here. Okay, and finally getting into some vampires. Twilight Prophet and the Sangromancer might be worth pulling the trigger on the Patriarch's Bidding for those. And then continuing to point mill at us. Might be that they're just looking to exile our graveyard here. Got the new Crossway Troublemakers in the bin as well as a Bishop of Rebirth. Noteworthy that Haunt of Hightower is currently at a 10-10. That's flying and lifelink. Not sure what I want to take control of with the Captivating Vampire just yet. Could take control of the Zedruu, I suppose, just to try and screw their deck up. Target Enchantment is going on top of the library. They are going after Solitary Confinement. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, okay. Kawin triggering, or activating in response to Zedruu's trigger. So we'll all draw and gain a life here, I dare say. We draw into a Snowfield Sinkhole. More mill on the stack. Sanguine Bond is on the stack from Billy Kills as well, and that continues to be pointed at us. It's noteworthy that I am trying to keep the graveyards open so that you can have a look at it for the mill and stuff, but as you just saw, it closes itself for some stupid reason. Finally getting into vampires though, there is our Viscera Seer, Patron of the Vein there as well. Haven't seen our other mass reanimation spell from Kaldheim. So there's Solitary Confinement being cast. Likely scared of the Haunt of Hightower, I think. Mana Crypt being thrown down as well, so jumping up to 6 mana available. Still 7 cards in hand over there. I think X was 3 on the Zedruu, he was at 16, so up to 19 now means X was 3. Pyromancer's Swath. If an instant or sorcery you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much plus 2. At the beginning of the end step, discard your hand, so pretty much Torbran on an enchantment. Now it's wrong turn. Target opponent gains control of a target creature. So handing the Vedalken Plotter over to Valdrieg, likely just to make the Zedruu better. I'm going to take control of this Zedruu, I think. So Haunt of Hightower ending up at a 14-14. Oh, and 5 cards in hand, it's going to end up even bigger thanks to the Pyromancer's Swath. Just allowing everything to occur before we go after this Captivating Vampire. We want there to be the least amount of chance available to us that anyone will interfere. Folio Fancies, holding up 2 mana, so it's likely they have counter magic. Probably won't go for Patriarch's Bidding into that, in that case. Each opponent mills equal to the number of cards in their hand, that is 5 for us. We could encourage Val to use the mana in his hand on removal for the Haunt of Hightower as well. And then if he's tapped out, we'll likely go for Patriarch's Bidding. Yeah, so Haunt of Hightower going to get huge here. Probably big enough to take out Val if he's not careful. I dare say he's played around that though. We need to try and not crash the client here though. I'm removing auto yields here because I'm worried about the client goofing up. Yeah, okay, it went through a massive chunk of them and it was slowing down before it got to here, so just to give the client some breathing space, I'll go through these manually. Was worried it was going to crash there for a second. So back down to the Pyromancer's Swath. They will discard those 5 cards in hand. So makes the Haunt of Hightower even bigger. We've only got 38 cards left in the library here, unfortunately. Let's go for Cap Vamp on 2 Zedruu. Really great that this thing isn't affected by Summoning Sickness. It doesn't have the tap arrow, it just says tap 5 untapped vampires, so don't have to worry about Summoning Sickness with that, of course. Taking the Zedruu from our opponent, and that is a vampire now, or it should be. Yeah, a Minotaur Monk vampire. So we'll get the trigger on Zedruu the Great-Hearted, although I don't think that's going to do anything for us. Edgar Markov will give us another vampire token, and it will flip and give us the Anthem effect, and it's through to the draw step, of course, and it's just a land, milling all of our good stuff apparently. Right, so let's swing in with our 50-50 Haunt of Hightower. That can go straight in towards Valdrieg. Let's swing the bird in at Jace as well. So encouraging Valdrieg to discard a card to the Haunt of Hightower will bump it up to a 51-51. I'm assuming they've got something to do to this Haunt of Hightower. Discarded a land to that. Alright, and amazingly, yeah, Valdrieg not able to do anything about that, so able to knock the most threatening player out of the game there, I think. Not to say that Billy Kills can't get back into this. He does have half a combo in play and a lot of life. 40 cards left in the library here, 47 over here. We need to be getting rid of this solitary confinement, really, although he's got 0 cards in hand. And he's going to skip his draw step and he's lost his commander, so not sure what this player's going to do exactly. I think we've got time against this player while we deal with Billy Kills. We can't point this at Zedruu either. Let's go Ashnod's Altar just for the sake of getting that into play. So we'll make head start on Billy Kills. We'll go for the Malakir Blood Witch. And we've only got one player that we can... Oh, it's actually each opponent. Alright, I thought that was targeted. Oh no, there's an uncommon version of this that doesn't have flying or protection. And that one is targeted. Yeah, so draining all of our opponents there, going up to 99. Let's get down the Scrubland, then we can hold up mana for the Mind Stone if we want to. Bloodcast comes out of play there. We've milled Bloodcast at some point apparently. So how many vamps do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 untapped, so can't quite steal 2 things with Captivating Vampire, unfortunately. Pyromancer's Swath does trigger during each end step, so yeah, it's not looking hopeful for the Jeskai player unless I'm missing something. Viscera scrying for an answer. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do anything about some kind of infinite combo. If they drop the other half of Sanguine Bond and then sacrifice a pest token, then they'll be able to drain us out there. So I wonder if it's actually worth going after the Viscera Seer. We can wait and see what they cast, I suppose, before we do anything like that. Oh, Culling Ritual. Destroy each non-land permanent, so yeah, that gets rid of a bunch of our tokens. There's not much point in stealing anything with the Captivating Vampire. I suppose we could do it in response, although this can sacrifice itself in response. Yeah, we're not going to have enough vampires after this in order to steal something. Might as well go for the Mind Stone here, I think. Although, yeah, just in case we draw into a Swords or something, we can use Ashnod's Altar, can't we? We're going to lose the tokens anyway. So we'll draw a card with the Mind Stone. Never managed to flip round the Legion's Landing, actually. Probably should have swung a token in with that so that we could have flipped it round. And, of course, just draw into another land. Really hoping that we manage to land this Patriarch's Bidding. And we'll just leave the Captivating Vampire untapped. It's, like I said, we're not going to be able to steal anything with it, unfortunately. So I don't think it's going to be too relevant. Making a bunch of mana over there, though. That is 16 mana from the Culling Ritual. So we go up to 100 life and then back down to 99 with Sanguine Bond and the Pest token. So there we see Beledros Witherbloom, 4 cards left in hand for kills. And a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, so that will be 5. So leaving the Zedruu player in play for now. So that's 10 life gain from that, knocking us down by 10. Can't target the other player anyway. So we go around to Zedruu's turn. And lots of cards in the graveyard, not sure if he can actually do anything though. Billy Kills is up to 51 life now. Solitary Confinement is going to be sacrificed because he actually, yeah, can't discard a card that he doesn't have in hand. So that means that it should be fairly easy to get rid of the Jeskai player now. Now able to go for the Hall of Heliod's Generosity, and yep, just going on to the Solitary Confinement again. I mean, just treading water, not actually going to be able to do anything. I mean, you can do that for the rest of the game, but it's not really going to do much of anything, I don't think. I think our plan is to sacrifice the Malakir Blood Witch and then bring it back into play with the Patriarch's Bidding. And that should get rid of this player. Commander Sphere being sacrificed for card draw, so that puts 1 card in their hand. And it was a Makokoro that they drew into, so another means of card draw for them at least, and they can activate it luckily. So Solitary Confinement coming back. So are we going to be able to... Yes, we'll sacrifice the Edgar Markov now so that we can get the Coffin back into play. We do not want to put it back in the command zone. And we'll still be able to get Beledros out of the way. So Zedruu going on the stack, Edgar Markov and Beledros going on the stack as well. Question is, with 3 cards in hand, does Kills have anything for this Haunt of Hightower? Alright, we get into a Blood Artist. That was a really good draw, so we will throw down the Cavern of Souls. Don't think we need to worry about counter magic, but we'll throw that out just in case. Oh yeah, and that activates the Bloodghast as well, forgot about that. So we were having a vampire come into play either way there. So let's throw out Blood Artist. Then we can activate Captivating Vampire and try to take this Beledros. Noteworthy that Bloodghast actually has haste now, thanks to the Zedruu player. Zedruu player's at 10 or less life, so yeah, that does have haste. What can Billy Kills have here? Could have the fog that makes the spider tokens. So do we just encourage him to have that? Let's go straight through to combat here. Take that in towards Billy Kills. He will have to discard a card. Might as well take the Bloodghast in there as well because we can't block with that thing. Although leaving it unblocked is probably more relevant, isn't it? Thanks to the Captivating Vampire. So just turn the Haunt of Hightower in that way. And yeah, he does have something. That is Putrefy onto there. So blowing that up, I don't think it's relevant that we sacrifice the Haunt of Hightower. This is definitely Destroy, isn't it? Yeah, it destroys, not exiles, so we'll just let that go. We can point Blood Artist at Billy Kills, and then he still has to discard to the Haunt of Hightower here. And discarding a Swamp, so down to 1 card in hand. So let's get this Patriarch's Bidding down finally. Obviously named Vampire with that. Each of our opponents can reanimate some stuff as well, so hopefully that won't be too relevant. Oh, actually, I completely forgot to sacrifice the Malakir Blood Witch. Ugh. I was being so careful not to pass through the end of combat and second main phase. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That's annoying. Although I think I spy a Bloodline Necromancer here. Yes. Bloodline Necromancer is going to allow us to... I On the stack, I will hold control. Patron of the Vein is going to be able to target something. Definitely get rid of the Villis, I think, although does Veto combo? Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life. Whenever you gain life, yes, so that's just more triggers of that. I think it has to be the Villis that we go after. Oh, and that's annoying because it was on the stack. Yeah, I was hoping we'd get a chance to... Yeah, it didn't have a legal target. I was hoping we'd get the chance to sacrifice this and get rid of the Jeskai player. Oh well. Oh, and they decide to scoop anyway. So, Patron of the Vein going on to the Villis. And a creature dies there, so... Oh, we've got a Lender in play. We've got Sangromancer, Yahenni, another Sack Outlet, Blood Artist, obviously going on to Billy Kills. And the client's starting to bug out. Yeah, the client really struggling here. Yeah, so we've got pretty much all of our Sack Outlets. In fact, I think we've got every single Sack Outlet in the deck in play at the moment. I suppose we could have taken control of the Villis as opposed to killing it off. But anyway, plus counters on everything from Patron of the Vein. That does include the Lender. Gain 3 life from the Sangromancer. Actually should have gained control of the Veto, I suppose. Yeah, while we're gaining life, let's gain control of Veto. And let's gain control of the Vainwitch Coven as well. I think Kills is just letting us have this because he's not sacrificing things with the Viscera Seer. So we'll assume that he doesn't have anything else for us and we'll just try and get through the game. So I might be able to do something tricky here. Let's go for sacrificing the Malakir Bloodwitch. Yeah, we might be able to just get our opponent here. Crossway Troublemakers is going to allow us to pay 2 life to draw. We will do that. Okay, and there's Blood Tribute. So does that mean that we just win here with the Veto? We'll pay the black to the Vainwitch Coven to get the Malakir Bloodwitch back. And then a plus counter going on the Elender, of course. Yeah, there's no way of doing this without putting more triggers on the stack. Get rid of another tap vampire. I want to cast the Bloodline Tribute here. Have Billy Kills lose half his life. Draw from the Crossway Troublemakers again. Sacrifice Bloodghast and do the same thing again. Okay, and we get into some vampires eventually. They were all stuck on the bottom of the deck apparently. 32 cards left in the library. Let's go for the Blood Tribute. We will kick that by tapping a vampire. Can just tap the Veto, I think. So he goes down to 18. And there we go with the Veto. That takes the other half of his life total down. Little bit of clicking to go through there, but drawing into the Patriarch's Bidding with all that mill was really lucky for us and managed to hold on to it until it was relevant. Massive thank you to Billy Kills for being a patron and supporter of the channel. Same goes to Valdrieg, big thank you to him as well. Came up against a cool Zedruu player as well, who managed to stick it out until the end, so good game all round, I think. Still don't really think much of Edgar Markov, to be honest. Edgar Markov's Coffin is cool to have in the 99, but it's not something I would play around. I would probably just put this in the 99 of either the original Edgar Markov list or in Elender the Dusk Rose. For the same amount of mana and the same colours, you can make a perfectly viable vampire / tribal / token deck with this one. So I think Elender the Dusk Rose is just better all day long, but it's cool flavour, so if that's what you're into, then by all means, you can take this deck list and play it yourself if you want to. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.